Hello, it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight headlines. We have the visit of a high-level ministerial delegation to isolations and quarantine centers of coronavirus. For the national scene in Syria, Free Al-Labid's airport opens. The conquest of Idlib continues. Welcome to our newsroom. Like all countries, the Republic of Djibouti has taken all the necessary preventive measures in the context of the prevention and treatment of cases of coronavirus in order to respond effectively in the event of an emergency. Since the beginning of the coronavirus epidemic in China, the Minister of Health has taken all the necessary and useful precautions as part of its response plan against the highly contagious disease, in particular through the establishment of an emergency operations center, which ensures multi-sectoral coordination. To this end, a high-ranking ministerial delegation visit the site to inquire about various sites set up by the Health Department. Indeed, the Minister of Health, Mr. Mohamed Warsama Diriya, accompanied by several colleagues, including the Minister of Defense, Hassan Omar Mohammed, the Minister of Interior, Moumin Ahmed Sheikh, the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Moumin Hassan Barre, the Minister of Budget, Abdul Karim Aden Sher, the Minister of Telecommunication, Radwan Abdullahi Bahdoun, the member of the government, therefore visit the care circuit, and which is composed of an isolation unit for the care of suspect cases and quarantine centers for contact persons or those who have returned from China. The director of the UNSPD in the preventive and the management of coronavirus cases that our country, he said that our country has no suspected cases of coronavirus. The Department of Health, in close collaboration with the other sectoral department, has set up an effective incident management system that meets standards for the preventive and management of coronavirus cases. An agreement was signed this morning in the meeting room of the budget minister between the budget ministers and the Arab Fund for Economic and Social Development on the project of the Damerjok Power Station extension and development of the electric transport network. Djibouti Electricity intend to carry out the project for the extension and development of the network and the creations of new power stations at Damerjok. The important economic development of Djibouti will result in an annual growth of more than 10% in the demand for electricity in Djibouti, which the EDD will not be able to satisfy without an increase in its electricity production capacity and its transmission network. This project for the development of the network and electricity production is comprised two projects. The first involves the construction of 50 megawatt dual fuel power stations in Damerjok at estimated total cost of between 95 and 98 million US dollars to be financed by FADES. For his part, the Minister of Energy, Yunus Ali Geddi, explained that we and the FADES are gathered here today for the Damerjok Power Stations project, extension and development of the electricity transmission network, which will be located in Damerjok. FADES delegation was added 2 weeks ago and was working with the Ministry of Energy and EDD in order to improve this project. In the well understood, we and the FADES delegations, which we proves today that we have signed an agreement on this project of an extensive Damerjok power plant and development of electric transport network. This Damerjok job will be then done by natural gas and oil. The Minister of Budget, Abdul Karim Aden Sher, he said on the signing of an agreement between the Minister of Budget and Arab Economic and Social Development Fund in order to improve this project. In this well understood, we and the FADES delegations, which we proved today that we have signed an agreement on this project of an extensive demerger power plant and development of electric transport network. This demerger job will be done by natural gas and oil. Following the example of the world, the Republic of Djibouti will organize the commemorations of the International Day of Languages, whose activity will start soon. These days is celebrated around the world every year on February 21. Listen to Dini Musa.
State Security responsible for decentralization affairs organized this morning at the People's Palace a preparatory meeting for a technical workshop on how to translate technical words and administrative terms used in departments in local languages in order to develop the performance of employees of state, institutions, and citizens. This workshop will allow to improve communication between state institutions and citizens. The workshop was attended by officials from the ministry, cadres from various ministerial departments, employees of the Afar and Somali Book Club, professors of the University of Djibouti, as well as civil society representatives. The State Secretary responsible for decentralization affairs works with all ministerial departments during this session to coordinate translation operations with the relevant authorities, according to the roadmap of this ministry. At the end of this preparatory meeting, a date has been set for the 2nd and 3rd days of March to start this session that will be sponsored by the ministry in charge of decentralization.
The courtesy visit of Mo Farah to the State Secretary for Youth and Sport. So it is more than fraternal atmosphere that the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Hassan Mohammed Kamil, welcomed today in his office the Somali-British international athlete Mo Farah, introduced by the Secretary General of the Prime Minister's Office, Naguib Abdallah Kamil, and accompanied by his personal coach, Gary Luke, in the presence of the President of the Djibouti National Olympic Committee, Aisha Karad Ali, the President of the Djibouti Athletics Federation, Saeed Ismail Hassan, and the sport directors of the Secretary of State. The 4 times Olympic running champion, out of 5,000 and 10,000 meter, Mo Farah was enthusiastic about the welcomes he received from the high authority of his homeland. After the customs and welcome of the Secretary of State for Athletics, the disciplines of choice of Djiboutians dominate the exchanges of these meetings, and international stars assure of his total availability to provide the young Djiboutians his advice. Taking the floor in his turn, the Secretary of State for Youth and Sport, Hassan Mohammed Kamil, did not fail to thank Mo Farah for this outpouring of solidarity to raise the level of our athletes who are preparing in Addis Ababa, and assure that he will soon travel to the Ethiopian capital for meetings of finalization in the presence of Mo Farah, who also elected the mountains of Abyssinia to prepare for the Tokyo Olympics. Colonel Mohammed Jama Abdouali, commanders of the Republican Guard, received this morning's Justice General Staff of the Republican Guard the visit of a strong delegation from the Russian Federation. This delegation is composed of the head of the representative defenses and the Russian Federation is at this traditional welcomes. The Republican Guard is very Colonel Wais Omar Boghor, the commanders of the Republican Guard, welcomed in his cabinet a strong delegation led by Major General Alexander Ostrikov and the representative of the Ministry of Defense. The Russian Federation is in the presence of the Russian Federation. Sheraton Hotel hosted this morning's validation workshop on the national protocol for the development of the national monitoring evaluation systems for the water and sanitation sector in rural areas. The workshop was organized by the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fishery and Water in close collaboration with UNICEF, was attended by a representative of public institution, the representative of UNICEF, Ms. Melva Johnson delivered a speech in which UNICEF maintains its financial support with the Ministry of Agriculture, Livestock, Fisheries and Water to assist it in the process of operation's monitoring and evaluation system for water, sanitation, hygiene services. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Agriculture, Ibrahim Elmi, who presided over the opening of the workshop, explained that his department was continuing its effort that the mechanism for the monitoring evaluations of water, sanitation and hygiene in rural areas should make it possible to facilitate the attainment of the government objectives by creating mechanisms capable of communicating the views of population in the depth evolution of the implementation different actions in the wash sector. The multi-purpose rooms of the Djibouti Industrial and Commercial High School LIC hosted this morning's training workshop for physical activity and sports educators adapted for people with special needs. The room brought together the director of NPH Douale Saeed Mahamoud, the headmasters of LIC, president of the networks of disabled people Idris Mumin Abdi, 30 teachers for people with special needs. The objective of this workshop is to train teachers in the file in this file, which is sports, so that they meet the needs of the person with disability using a sportive activity as support. The training centers for teachers of basic education has housed a series of in-service training courses for teaching and non-teaching staff during this week of interrupted holidays. DG of CFF, Ms. Aisha Farah and her collaborators launched this training this morning, in addition to the usual capacity building training for teachers in the context of classroom practice of training of dropping out of school, so the participations of the supervisor, staff, heads of middle and secondary schools in the region. This training will follow another with, in addition, the school life, middle, secondary and preschool teachers. For the international scene, in Syria, Aleppo liberates its airport, reopens the conquest of Idlib countries. The Syrian army has regained control of nearly 13 villages and localities surrounding the city of Aleppo as part of its offensive against the last great jihadist and stronghold rebels in northwestern Syria. Syrian President Bashar al-Assad reported that the recent victory of the Syrian army in Aleppo province was a prelude to a major defeat of the rebels elsewhere. After Senegal, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo traveled to Luanda for a working visit to Angola to strengthen cooperation between the two countries. Listen to the report.
U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo arrived Sunday in Luanda for a 24-hour working visit to Angola aimed at strengthening cooperation between the two countries. In Luanda, Mr. Pompeo met Monday with Angolan President João Lourenço, and they discussed diplomatic relations and cooperation between the two countries. At a press conference at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, the U.S. Secretary of State reaffirmed that his country's support for the reforms underway in Angola. He will participate in a roundtable discussion with business leaders. Before Angola, Mike Pompeo stopped in Senegal. He left the Angolan capital for Addis Ababa, Ethiopia.
This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.